Before we start, I have an announcement. We have started a Patreon for the Safety Third podcast because I did the maths and we lose money every time we post one of these. So if you want to support us, head on over to Patreon. What do you get for your hard-earned shekels? For $5 a month, you get an extra hour, an additional hour that we record after every podcast where we interact with the questions and suggestions that you guys give us on the exclusive Discord server. Maybe you have an idea. Maybe you think that one of us sucks and you want to tell us. No, don't do that. For $15 a month, that's the Galaxy Brain tier, you get everything from the Big Brain tier, but you also get every 3 months a signed Polaroid from one of us, and we'll set it up so that you get different ones every time. You can put it on your wall, you can put it on your fridge, you can eat it, you could eat the Polaroid. I would not suggest doing that because there's chemicals in there, but you could. There's a link in the description below, and I'm gonna go away and start the episode now. Okay, bye. Welcome to the Safety Third podcast, the podcast where everybody talks over each other and we have Discord notifications going off in the background.
And this is your host, Backyard Scientist.
Yeah.
It's
nice. Everyone go ham. And today we have a very special episode. Very special guest.
We
got insurance every single episode.
His name is Angus.
And Chelsea comes in. Yes. No, come in. Tell me what you're gonna tell me in the middle of it. Yeah. What? It's a line?
You might know him as Maker's Muse on the internet.com.
Okay, thank you.
And if you're not already subscribed to him, make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe to Maker's Muse, straight from Australia with the cockatoos. We've got.
I have a.
Yay!
Everyone's here.
My riddle.
Oh, your shittle.
Okay.
My shittle. What has 2 cocks and flies?
Cockatoo.
Cockatoo. Thank you.
Wow.
You're welcome.
You got it. Wow.
You know, we just said cockatoo like 4 times, and I still didn't get it.
Such a good shitter.
I outsmarted myself.
It's really fun just saying cock constantly through videos, but they're like completely like safe for work.
Yeah.
But if you take them out of context, they're not.
Does YouTube care? Does the algorithm recognize the context of a word?
It doesn't seem to care. Like the annotations pick it up and everything.
Because you guys say some other words there too.
Yeah, how long of a gap are you allowed between saying cock and saying a two?
There we go, talking over each other again.
I haven't pushed it.
Cock, a two.
Yeah. Or cockies.
Cockies? Is that what you call them?
Yeah, the cockies.
Wait, what do you call crickets again?
Cockies.
No, do you call them crickets?
Cockets?
Cockets. Definitely
Australia's weird.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
You guys have a
Our
weird
swans are
obsession
black
with
too.
that.
Really?
What?
Proper upside down. Yeah.
No.
Black swans.
No way.
Rare.
That's
like the whole point of that.
That doesn't even make sense because I feel like in Australia it's hotter. Is it hotter? It is hotter. I feel like it's warmer in Australia.
Yeah. They're a completely different species.
What happens if a black swan mates with a white swan then?
It's
They're
true.
Different species.
What?
It's true.
They're different species?
They're black swans.
They're not even like those, because you can get a polar bear and a grizzly bear and they make a pizzly bear.
Is that true?
You can't get a black swan.
Wait,
Yeah, that is true.
Alan, you
bear.
always
That's
have
a real thing.
random animal facts.
Look what I found.
like
I found a
animals.
black and white swan.
Oh my god, it's a
Is
real
it like
thing?
checkered? Do they check
It's
it?
an interracial swan.
That's different though.
Does it turn gray or does it kind of do half and half, or is it like a tabby cat but it's a swan? What's the pattern look like?
Dude,
just its head. Just
it's
its
a
head's
zebra
black.
swan. Just the head is black and the rest of it is white.
Zebra.
Just the neck.
the Pizzly bear just looks like a really sad and sick polar bear.
Well, that's because it's kind of the only circumstances where that happens, because their territory normally doesn't overlap that much. But polar bears are getting forced more and more south.
Is this a thing too?
And
is there
grizzly
actually
bears
a
are going
pizzly
more and more
bear?
north. There are pizzly bears. They can breed. They can make. I don't think the offspring is viable, but they can make a liger. You know, a liger, a lion.
It's called a pizzly.
It's a pizzly bear. You guys
Oh,
haven't heard
it
of
is
this?
sad.
Yeah.
It's
Well, there's
sad.
like
looking.
zebra horse crosses.
Yeah, actually, zebras are not actually horses, like in the however you like arrange the different animal kingdoms or whatever. I know this because I once posed a question of, could Jeff Bezos kill every horse on Earth if he wanted to?
I would like to unsubscribe from horse facts.
The question was, do zebras count? And it turns out they don't.
Oh
They're
crap! I would
actually
also
not
like to
horses.
unsubscribe from zebra facts.
Did you know zebras are actually black with white stripes? Yeah.
All right, everyone on the count of 3 say one fun animal fact.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Cats
Turtles
have spiky
penises are
I
corkscrews.
got chased by a red-bellied black
through
snake.
their anuses.
All right, I didn't hear the first half of what Alan said, but I'm glad because it ended with anus.
I want to hear it now.
No, turtles can breathe through their. Some species of turtle can breathe through their buttholes.
Okay.
They have enough oxygen diffusion through the tissue in their buttholes. They can breathe through it.
Alan is the
that's
kid
tactical.
who didn't have any friends in school, and so he just sat in the library reading the zoo books. And
you're saying that like it's a bad thing.
I was
Look
that
at where
kid
it got
too.
me. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you don't have any of these. Like Alan just comes out of these like a turtle from his ass. He can pull facts out of his ass the same way a turtle can breathe.
That's like trivia.
It's like a turtle breathing.
Facts.
He can pull facts. Like
I went off on
oxygen.
koalas so hard one time. I was on a panel with Carrie Byer, and I went off on koalas so hard that she nicknamed me Fecal Pap, because that's a fact about koalas, is the mothers feed their young poop.
This is the second time I think Alan has shared this.
Oh, on this exact
koalas.
podcast, actually. Yeah, I really don't like those
though.
fucking things. Yeah.
You know,
but that's
when I was
like an
promoting,
Australian thing, so it works.
I was going to promote this podcast on my channel. I did. And I was going to use the video of you and the pandas, or the
koalas.
I'm sorry, koalas, because it was so funny.
Australian pandas is their
that actually blew my mind.
They're really vicious too. They got really sharp claws.
They have a lot of chlamydia also.
Yeah. And chlamydia. They all have chlamydia.
Yeah. What's like the weird? Have you? I don't. Okay. Look, Angus. Have you
ever died from an animal in Australia?
Yeah. What's like the worst animal fight you've gotten in?
Animal fight?
Yeah, because you've got a lot of cockatoos on your channel, but like, have you ever, like a kangaroo?
Gone 1-to-1?
Yeah.
How many?
The birds can get overtamed. So like, we have these things called bush turkeys. They look exactly like they sound like. They're like, you imagine an Australian scrawny crap turkey. It's a bush turkey. And if they know you have food, they're in areas that people feed them, they get really aggressive. Like, they'll come right up to you. If they see any food, they'll like run up to you and try to get it. And they can be pretty scary. Like, I've been chased by them.
You're in a room it's 15 feet by 15 feet, a closed room. How many bush turkeys do you think you could you could kill all of them?
You could kill them, but you'd come off with quite a few scratches and pecks.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
Could you take on 50 bush turkeys if you're in a 15 by 15?
Just drowning in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they'd probably do a bit of damage. You probably just kick your way through them like little footballs.
Okay, how big are they? So they're not that big then?
No, they're like that.
That's pretty big.
That's big. That's big.
Like a little bit smaller than a huge normal turkey. Like a little bit smaller, but probably
like an
stronger,
emaciated turkey.
Scrawny. Yeah, like an emaciated.
Like a medium-sized turkey?
Like a pizzly.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Like a pizzly.
Yeah, they can't really fly. They kind of fly like chickens. They sort of go like that. They sort of do. They can't fly.
Oh, so they can just like arc. They can't fly.
They fall.
No.
They fly.
They fall. Yeah. They fall gracefully.
Like a grenade launcher in a video game.
I've been looking to buy a new 3D printer, and I don't actually know. It's just I don't know what's good anymore. The last time I got a 3D printer was the Lulzbot Taz 6. I feel like Lulzbot's a little.
On tack.
No, I mean it's a little. I feel like it's a little off. It's old now. Like the Taz 6, I haven't been in it for a while.
Is it with a 3mm filament too?
I got the head at the hot end.
Is there something wrong with
3mm
filament?
Actually,
Yeah, I see that Ultimaker.
Yeah.
What's wrong with 3mm?
Shut.
This is old school. We've moved on from that.
Yeah.
No, I've already trash talked it in this podcast.
I feel like that's pretty much that basically won. Like 1.75 all the way. Yeah.
It's just easy to use.
The hot end. Yeah. So what is even up with 3D printers nowadays? Like
they're all garbage.
Yeah,
just ask Will about his experience with the Creality thing. Like there was a race to the bottom, so they all just got really terrible.
Wait,
like who can
isn't your whole channel like about 3D printing then?
Yeah, it's all about making them better. So I use like a 4-year-old like Ender 3, like when they first came out. I've made it good, and I use that as a test bed for everything else. But most of the reviews I've done the last 2 years have been just like, kind of like, it's not better. It's half the price that it used to be, but they haven't made it improved.
So, I remember, what's the problem? Is it just
what about Voron? Have you heard of Voron?
Yeah, but you got to make them. Like they're almost like a hobby in itself. Like they're
like
really
the
good.
New like Ender, I guess, or or Prusa.
Yeah, they're sort of like,
just, like,
building like a
The
kit car.
community
Like,
is the same.
yeah, it's all about the community and like it's high performance, but you have to build it. You can't just. I mean, you probably could buy a ready to run one these days, but it's mostly about the
That's why
experience
I
of
did
building
this.
it. Yeah.
Because it was just ready
Oh,
to
your
go.
blurry.
Because I got
box
that
in
like
the
4 years
background.
ago, and I didn't want to have to build one.
What you of
Yeah.
all the people who would absolutely build one, it's Kevin. I don't understand. That doesn't make any sense.
Time is money.
Have you seen the stuff
Takes
that
a lot
I
of
build?
time to
Will?
make printers.
Have you seen
I have seen
the stuff that I build works for one video?
Kevin, you're
Yeah.
definitely someone I would assume would make like a metal 3D printer by just putting like a MIG welder on like an axis and just
I would
trying to
do-
like
yeah.
See, I knew you.
I think I've seen someone do that actually. They got an Ender
And
3
it's
and
not
strapped
great.
a well. It's terrible. It's pretty bad.
The
Come on,
resolution's
Kevin, you
only
know you
good
want to.
if you're printing giant things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
but then
50
everything
pounds
warps.
of
Like
wire.
as the molten metal pool cools, it like contracts so much that it just destroys everything.
So there's no
Yeah.
good 3D printers, really, like none of them.
I'm
They're
very
all
hesitant
bad.
to recommend them because then everyone goes and buys them.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I want to
Here's
buy.
like tech support
here's
for
my
everybody.
recommendation. Get a hacksaw.
Oh, you've heard of additive manufacturing. Get ready for subtractive
Subtractive.
Wow, what a
It's the old
revolution.
is new again.
Wow.
Yeah, I like the artillery ones, the Sidewinder, which is like as a printer you're importing into a country that's very like no guns and safe. Calling a printer the artillery Sidewinder is probably not the best, but they're alright. They're pretty good.
Artillery Sidewinder?
I've never
Artillery
even heard of this.
Sidewinder.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of the printer or the name
That's
of the
the name of the
brand?
printer. Yeah.
1x,
So-
2x.
The 2X is the new one. They're good because they strapped a high flow like hot end on them, so you can put like a 0.8 nozzle and you can print really fast because I'm lazy and I want just quick big prints.
Right.
Yeah, so that's pretty good.
What's the
I mean, I
biggest
like
thing?
mine, but obviously there's people who are like, oh, the ribbon cables because it uses ribbon cables for the axes. They're like, oh, they're really fragile. I'd rather get an Ender
So
3 and
picky.
upgrade it. Yeah, it's all like what you need versus what the community recommends.
Would you say the 3D printing community is like, is it a good community or like a bad toxic community? It's just overall, no in between, one or the other. What would you say?
I left all the Facebook groups.
So that's a good community. It was too
I think
wholesome
that's
for
an answer.
Angus.
I think that's an answer.
Angus couldn't handle the wholesome energy of the 3D printing group, so he left them all.
Because just from
I
that,
think
I
everyone
feel like
forgets how little they knew when they started, and then they sort of shit on all the newbies
that's the worst.
coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just
from
don't
that
remember how...
one-
Because I knew, like, nothing when I started. Like, no one does.
Yeah,
think-
exactly.
I don't know. Did we talk about this last time? But the idea that mansplaining is not limited to anyone. It's just men who explain things. Like, there's this energy of like,
We talked about this.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you still
I
call it
take issue with
mansplaining
this,
because
though.
it's still a dude doing it to you. But I guess
Have you ever,
could have
have
it.
you ever
see
been
Jabril's
mansplained
tweet?
by a girl or a woman? Or
No,
whatever?
no.
It's almost the opposite. Like, I was doing some sewing a while ago, and they just, like, love the fact you're trying it and want to help as much as possible versus...
Yes.
Like, in the 3D printing community, there's very little women. I wonder why.
Because everyone hates each other.
So Jabril just posted a tweet saying, like, would you rather, if you were explaining something to somebody, should you explain it like they have no idea what you're talking about, start from like square one, or do you assume that they know everything? And what would you say? Like, if you're trying to explain a concept to somebody, do you start like high level or do you start from the basics?
It's difficult. Like, if you're doing it in person, you can ask them, but obviously if you're doing a tutorial, you have to assume some level of knowledge. Because if you start at the basics, you're going to spend the whole hour bringing them up to, like, a certain level.
You
So, I mean,
It is kind of flawed when you think about it in real life,
Oh, yeah,
because
completely.
you can't ask people questions.
This
like,
is
if
why we
they
can't
know
have
this or
nice
not.
things, though, because
No.
People
You can't even
complain.
dislike bad
Everybody-
tutorials anymore because I removed the dislike button.
Every
I
single
wanted to
person
talk
on that
about
tweet
that.
said that they would assume that you already know stuff. And I didn't really agree with that, because then it's like that, like you were talking about, the 3D printer community that just assumes everybody's experts, and it's really hard to get started as a newbie.
Here's
Yeah.
my
100%.
take, because I think that we all, I mean, I do it to I do it to you. I'll be like, oh, I need help with 3D printing stuff. Who do I go to? Do I go to Forum? Hell no, I go to the YouTubers that follow on Twitter. I'm the guy.
Tom Stanton.
Right.
Maker's Muse.
But when people email us or tweet or whatever, there's a obvious sort of line where the person's actually trying, and there's a line where they haven't tried at all. Like one side of the line is this person's put effort into it, and the other side is like they didn't even do a Google search.
Yeah. That's the biggest problem with the Facebook groups is people just post the same question again and again and again. I mean, it's why I started making videos in the first place. I was working at a store, and people would come in asking like, "Oh, is this printer good?" And like once 20 people did it, I was like, "I'm just gonna make a video so I can send it to you."
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's a good origin story.
Yeah. Well, there was no ads back then. It was just like shit coming in from China.
When did you start the channel? It was 2013.
Yeah.
Did you actually start posting videos then, though?
Yeah, only a few. I think my first one that did well is I was ripping files from an old hack and slash game called Chivalry. And I was like pulling them out of the game and printing them, and Hackaday
that's cool.
picked it up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's print Chivalry Medieval Warfare 2014, 7 years ago.
7 years.
Oh, you
ago.
did it. You did a 3D printing pen. I did one of those early on too.
Yeah, I remember
videos
those.
were simpler back then, man. In 2014 the kind of video you could
were
do
you
would
a
be like
brony?
3
What's
minutes
this?
long.
What's Pinkie Pie doing?
Oh yeah. I was running a club with year 7 kids, and it was mostly girls because they all wanted to print My Little Pony stuff.
Wow, that's so funny.
They were 3D modeling them.
That could have gone either way. It could have been like a bunch of little girls or like 30-year-old dudes, and I would have believed you either way for printing.
Well, I think it was the dudes watched the video.
3D printing My Little Pony could have gone one way or the other.
I've never really understood that.
That outdoes all your earlier videos by like at least 10x.
So you tapped into the bronies. Like in real life, you did it for the girls, but online, it was for the brony guys.
Yeah, it's a good show bros. Though. I don't mind watching it.
Are you a brony?
I'm not a brony, but I like it's a decent show.
I mean, I'm not a brony. I just really like the characters.
I just really like the show.
I read an article.
I haven't finished it. It got too long. I didn't finish it.
I read an article a while ago. I don't really remember what it said. It was like the creator of the show talking about the whole brony thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember. I think they had like very mixed feelings about it because it was sort of like a new audience, but it also was it showed itself to be a weird audience sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, what would anyone here do if like suddenly like a community of a bunch of weird perverts started giving you a bunch of money? Like, what are you supposed to do? Just
do you accept
I would probably make a lot of money.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you supposed to do in that
make
situation?
a lot of money, Will.
I would.
From the weird perverts
that watch the video.
Yeah.
All the
everyone that
all
watches
the weird
this
perverts
is a pervert.
Yeah, Will, when are you coming back, by the way? When are you going to start publishing videos again? That's all anyone's fucking asking me.
Well, it would have been a month ago if I was
back?
better at making videos. Why you put me on the spot like this?
How many videos?
Because this is the juicy stuff that people want to hear.
Do they actually?
Will,
behind the scenes.
I'm quitting YouTube. William Osman has
I didn't say
4
that.
videos. He has not published yet.
There's the Mr. Beast video, which now I'm like contemplating just not even posting.
Yeah, I mean, at this point,
freaking should have been posted a month ago. And it's also like too much footage I don't want to deal with. People think making videos is easy, but depending on how you make them, it can actually be a horrible experience. Like,
what's your worst video, Angus? What's like the absolute worst, like in terms of feedback of like, have you ever gotten a video where like people gave you death threats over a 3D printer?
Yeah,
wait. I think there's two. Give us two answers. I think worst video as in worst community response, and worst video as in the video that you hated making the most.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Every review, but
all of them. I hate each one more than the last.
Because they take months, and then you release them, and the company, if it's a bad review, right, they're like, oh, we've already changed all the stuff you didn't like. It's like, okay, that's usually their excuse. So it's like all that time and effort's wasted.
Does the audience
say,
get mad at you?
You got a bad unit. What's that?
Does the audience get mad? Or is it always just the companies that get mad?
Usually, again, it's like the community of that printer might get mad if I say it's not good. Because they're like, I've got it, therefore it's great. But they only had that
cult.
experience
And this printer
of like,
is a part of my identity
there's been
now,
some
so
like
you
the end
have
of
angered
like,
me.
like Creality has a bit of a cult following. Prusa definitely has a cult following. But there used to be a company called TiVo, which made this rubbish kit, but it was the cheapest available. And that was like, if you criticize it, you're like, you don't know what you're doing. You're terrible. I actually took that review down because I just got sick of it. I got sick of the comment. I didn't want to give the company any like exposure.
I've seen Joel like show comments where people would say that he's like a sellout for saying a printer was good. So I can imagine
3D printing nerd.
Yeah, 3D printing nerd. If you say that
Yeah.
a printer is bad, people will get mad at you, and then if you say a printer is good, they'll call you a sellout.
Yeah, if you say it's bad, they'll say another company paid you to say it's bad. And if you say it's good, they'll say you're a shill and you got paid to do it.
I love
Negative
that
sponsorships.
Yeah, what do they say? Like the simplest solution is usually like the correct solution, or like the correct answer. And it's like the idea of you giving an honest review is somehow less simple than a conspiracy or like
a conspiracy because it fits the expectation more. But people, they sort of think you're getting a free printer, therefore you're going to be biased, which I guess really early on, yeah, absolutely. If a company sends you like a $2,000 printer, you're going to be like a bit, pussyfooting around and saying it's bad. I could not care less about another 3D printer in my, I've given away so many printers, I can't get rid of them. So that's like not even a question, but people still think you got a printer, therefore you're going to say it's great because you got a free machine.
I just I got this is another thing I talked to you about, the CR10 Max that I got.
Yeah.
I think Naomi sent, this was like a couple
I
years
think
ago.
I got one of those too. It didn't, the auto leveling was really bad. It didn't work at all.
Literally,
garbage from the factory.
It actually literally did not work. It didn't
do anything.
It actually did.
Because I scaled it up to a point where it couldn't function, and they just sold it anyway.
And I'm 90% sure that the touch probe for the matrix bed leveling was not being used. I am like 99% certain that the code wasn't implemented. I am
That would
also
explain a lot.
100% certain that it did not have thermal runaway.
When you got it, probably not. Yeah.
Not only did this printer not work, like at all, like there's gouges in the bed from me trying to get it to print. It actually could have burned another one of my houses down.
Yeah. I had one almost catch fire. It was just the end of the print. It went to thermal runaway, and the PLA. When you heat it up too much, it gets that almost like corn syrup, syrupy, like
smell.
cooking toffee smell.
Yeah.
It had just finished the print, and you could see it getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and then the print finished and it turned off.
Wow.
But it was in thermal runaway.
So something had happened.
I've never even heard of that before.
It's where the thermistor disconnects, so it thinks it's not heating up, and it just chucks more power into the heat cartridge.
So what happens is, from an electronic
fail-safes.
standpoint, there's a temperature sensor, and what happens when the temperature sensor gets disconnected? Like what value is the microprocessor going to read? It's probably, I don't know, going to read low, maybe? I don't know, like who knows?
Negative if it's a break,
Right.
minus
Oh,
100
it's real
degrees or
cold.
so.
So if it's reading an analog
Yeah.
signal and that connection breaks, it's going to be potentially, like when it measures the pin, it's just going to measure, let's say 0 volts. And when it says 0 volts, well, that means it's negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which means I need to add more heat. And so it just keeps adding more heat. And so what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to detect changes in temperature and time. And so if you don't have an appropriate change in temperature over time, you can assume that you are either A, unable to heat it properly because it's too cold, but like what are you going to soak it in liquid nitrogen or something? Or B, your thermistor is disconnected. And so it's like after 10 seconds, if I haven't increased by 1 degree.
It's something simple, like you were talking about with the treadmills that were eating children.
Yeah.
Just like detect if the motor is like running harder than it should be.
Right. Like a spike, like a huge spike in current.
Yeah.
So I did
I
that.
think they fixed those though.
Do you know how I fixed it?
I think they.
Hope so.
Do you know how I fixed the
Pelotons,
CR10
not
Max?
the CR10.
Did you actually fix it?
I did.
Wow. Okay.
Community firmware.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There you go.
So
Because
it's
the criminal thing is Marlin's had thermal runaway protection by default on for ages,
Oh no!
and they disabled it in their printers
because they just couldn't get it to work or something.
because the hot end wasn't insulated properly, so it would trigger falsely all the time.
Oh my god! So instead of figuring
At
out
some
how to,
point
like,
along the line, yeah.
all they had to do is
beautiful.
find a parameter somewhere to change to like increase the time, like the threshold before it triggers.
Because the early
That's
Prussias,
so good.
if you're printing a big flat surface, the cooling fan would cool the nozzle too much, and it would also go into thermal runaway
Right.
because it was like a little bit too cautious.
Yeah.
So you can, as you say, just tweak it.
Jesus Christ.
Dude.
Yeah.
No wonder Naomi stopped working with him. That sucks.
Oh,
Who-
it's bad.
Who was Naomi
man.
working with before this? It was like Ender or something.
Yeah,
Reality,
that's
yeah.
Creality. Yeah.
Reality. What is the backstory on this? Is this too long? Because I heard some like there's some drama there.
I thought it
They
was just
just-
that the printer sucked so bad. She was like, I can't even put my face on this anymore.
So she got the Ender 3 open sourced. She worked really hard to be like, hey,
Yeah.
you've used open source stuff, you have to be open source.
Okay, that's what it. Yeah, it was
and then
something
she-
to do with
yeah.
that.
And then
And
they just
people were
stopped
saying,
listening
like,
to her.
She's good. People were like praising her for this, and then I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah.
Money.
No, I think a lot of people just disregarded that she did that, or forgot. And then Creality just slowly sort of stopped listening. Do you see the belt printer she worked with? So
yeah.
CR30, I think it is. That was like her baby. And then after that, they kind of started
And they
doing
killed
this.
it. They killed her baby.
Yeah, they basically killed it.
I heard it had a lot of issues with prints adhering to the print bed, the belt. Like that's
The first, I mean, could you imagine engineering a belt print bed like to make it work at all? It was actually too adhesive initially, and then they tweaked it and they got not adhesive enough. And
Oh, so the
don't
print
know.
bed itself is like a treadmill almost. Like one of the
Yeah.
axes moves back and forth.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and
Why
the
do they
print
do
axis
this?
is
There's,
like
like,
it's
so
like
many-
diagonal, so it's like that's how it can kind of print like infinitely out.
Yeah,
'cause it
so you
kinda
can make
prints
like a
this.
huge like cosplay sword all at once. It just like goes off the bed as it goes.
Are you
Wait,
familiar?
what's this called?
The CR30.
Are you familiar
Kevin,
with?
Kevin
like-
wants a cool printer that doesn't work now.
No, he wants to build it himself now too. To make it work even less. Have you heard of the
Burn down the
idea of
house.
like old men building train sets in their basement? Is that an Australia thing as well?
I mean, I know the concept, but like I haven't really heard it as a term. But yeah,
Where it's like they're obsessed
there's
with
a
it?
huge community of that here. Yeah, yeah.
I think printing is very similar, where it's like everyone's obsessed with printing and everyone has this like almost fetish for making a new kind of improvement or innovation. But 3D printing, I think, has reached kind of like, at least approaching like the apex of sort of function versus cost, and it's all software at this point. So people try to introduce new features that they think is going to be the next big innovation, but the problem is it just doesn't, like, it doesn't actually matter. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
basically borderline perfect already, and there's not a whole lot that can improve it that won't add like an obscene amount of complexity. Even
Yeah.
look
Yeah.
at like color
It-
changers, right? Like what a nightmare color change printing is.
Yeah,
I've
well, I
looked
mean,
at
I
those
wouldn't even
modules
bother
before.
with filament machines, but there's different technologies which aren't fully explored. And they're
Right.
the ones which are sort of start, like, you know, resins, like, become stupid affordable now.
And like laser sintering. I feel
yeah.
like people are gonna have that in the future. Stuff like that.
Right.
Aren't resin
Yeah,
printers
like,
aren't resin printers really good now? Like they were kind of like for a while, like kind of overly complicated, but they've just become really good.
Yeah, well, mechanically, they're so simple that they can make them
Yeah.
really cheap. They're just a screen and a vat and, like, one motor.
Yeah.
Right.
At their most basic. But the latest development is that with those is the LCD screens would get burnt out because they get too hot
Mm-hmm.
from the resin. So now they use mono LCDs, which let more of the UV through. And like the
Right.
cure times are like under 1 second for some of them, I think.
Because a
Per
layer.
normal
Yeah.
LCD
Yeah.
blocks like an obscene amount of light, since it's like the Bayer pattern. It's called is the way
Yeah.
that pixels are colored is you have light coming through essentially color filters that are pixel size or smaller, they're like sub-pixel size. And I think that there's let's see Bayer pattern. It's not even. It's like there's more blues or something. I don't really know, but it's like a giant chessboard of, you know, red, green, blue. I think there's more greens actually. And so what happens is that light gets blocked no matter
Yeah, there's two
what.
greens.
And so
Yeah, that's why they have like a huge array of overpowered UV just to get some of it through.
right. So the screen is going to be absorbing like 50% of the energy even when it's transparent. So the mono screens are just an LCD without the Bayer filter, which is just a black and white image sensor, because all image sensors are black and white. It's the Bayer filter that causes them to be color.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Because it still measures just like like a a single point, like a single data point of brightness, and the sensor only knows that it's blue light because it's behind the blue filter, if that makes sense. So the monos will let through obscenely more light, which is why they use them in high-speed photography for science and stuff, because you get way more light. You can have your the settings much less.
Oh yeah, like in high-speed cameras.
Correct. Yeah. You don't use it for film because you want color, but for science they don't care, and so they'll use them because they're way more sensitive to light.
Science is unapologetic.
Yeah, because it's
just wants the data.
Yeah, because it's insanely fast. Resin printers are crazy fast.
Yeah. They're still. I still hesitate to recommend them to newbies though, because like the resin, it's so toxic.
Horrible. I hate them.
It's messed up.
I hate resin printers.
At one of our old rentals, I was like trying to discard it, so I poured it like onto a patch of grass to let it cure in the sun, and then remove the top soil and get rid of it. And then 6 months later, nothing grew there. It was still
Wait, after
like
you
dirt.
like took it off?
After I took it off, like I just took the top level off. Yeah, it must have like leached in a bit.
Oh, that's concerning.
So don't dispose of uncured resin.
I go through like 6 pairs of gloves every time I try to print something.
Yeah. And then COVID came along, and like nitrile gloves became like 10 times more expensive.
And alcohol too, which is like what most people use.
Yeah, you couldn't get it.
Yeah, I genuinely hate resin printing. Like if I had to choose, I would do FDM every day, any day over resin. Which is, I don't know. It's like a pain in the ass. It's a huge pain in the ass.
Yeah. Unless you're into miniatures, in which case it's like the most amazing technology in the world now.
Right.
Because like, imagine you could just print like clone Warhammer for literally cheaper and pay the printer off.
Yep.
Yeah.
But,
wow.
Is that really even practical though? Like, then you're buying it as like a hobby thing, kind of. It's a hobby or tool argument, isn't it? Like, do you just want something that just prints like an inkjet, or do you want to tinker with it? Because I think for me, like, I don't like printing stuff unless it has like some utility. Otherwise, you just end up with crap. You literally, there's just crap, and you have so much crap. I'm actually surprised you don't have more crap in your background of stuff you've printed.
I have disposed of a lot.
And that is sort of like my biggest qualm with printing is people buy it because like, oh, I can make stuff, and then they like go on Thingiverse, and it's like, oh,
honestly, if I wasn't doing the YouTube thing, I have no idea what I'd ever actually print. Like, I only 3D print projects for like videos. I've never really done it recreationally or to solve any problems around the house. That's kind of like all I use it for, honestly.
Yeah, but it is the perfect tech for doing those projects, though.
Right. Even
for prototyping.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff at my old, actually Alan, you've been there. We did like the haircut video at my old job. There's a lot of stuff there that's 3D printed where the engineers are like using it for kind of like pretty fleshed out prototypes, like seriously fleshed out prototypes. And it's all FDM because it's strong. You can print big stuff. It's way cheaper than milling like a giant block of aluminum. But you like have to be careful how you design stuff too, because now it's like you have like the overhang problems, you have like resolution problems, and so it's like if you want to make a prototype, it's like, well, you're making it specifically for the 3D printer, and it's going to be harder to manufacture out of something later because you've made decisions for, you know what I'm saying? Like you make design decisions for the printer that then now don't work for making it out of something else. Like
yeah, and you find yourself doing that like subconsciously after a while. But like when I was doing industrial design, because that's my like training at uni. It was almost the opposite because people would design stuff thinking 3D printing, oh, no restrictions. And then it's like, okay, it needs to be, either put into a 2-part mold or something.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, that's literally impossible because it's full of voids and undercuts and all this sort of crap. So go back to the drawing board. So it's almost too easy when you go from there to actual manufacturing.
I just spent, it's another video that I have in the works that I like. It was should have been posted like 2 months ago. I had to make a 2-part mold. I got a lot of those. I made a 2-part mold. I made the model in Blender of a cat, and I had to make a 2-part mold. But I knew that the problem with 2-part molds is you have to separate them, right? So it's like, how do you make a model for a 2-part mold that is sort of an organic shape? It was hell. It was actually hell. It took me like 100 hours, like no joke. I was like learning
really
how to use Blender.
It's really hard.
And like to get
very
from
big brain solution though.
Yeah, so what I did is I took 2 parallel light sources and put them kind of pretty far apart and cranked the power up so they're like super, super high intensity. and then put them 180 degrees away from each other and pointed them at the object, and it created a shadow along the edge, like where where the surface was perfectly axial or in line with the parallel light sources. And so I just had to mush the model to get rid of shadows anywhere else except on that like perfect seam. Because when you machine
it was good. It worked good.
If you machine
Tinkercad, I would have just done it in Tinkercad and just eyeballed it, and it would have been fine.
It would have been perfectly
Probably would have been fine.
Can you export from Minecraft?
I mean, like, CAD has like overhang
Make a
analysis in
two-part
that.
mold in Minecraft.
You're just in there like chiseling away.
Can you do CAD in
Subtracting
Minecraft? Someone
manufacturing
has to have done
mountain.
that CAD in Minecraft.
No, that's
Yeah.
the thing.
Can you
That's the
imagine?
thing.
Oh, it is
Yeah.
a thing?
Yeah, because we used to do that, and I used to do like Maker Kids summer camps, and so one of the things was there are programs where you can export things you make in Minecraft as STLs.
Really?
Yeah, so you can full
That's
on
pretty
3D
nuts.
print
That's
them,
funny.
and then you can re-import them if you want to, and it's a CAD model, but it's just made out of like crappy blocks.
Dude, I gotta print
Really
our
low,
Minecraft world.
really low resolution voxels. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
That's totally a thing. That was years ago too. I'm sure it's probably even like there's probably better versions of that now. It might smooth things out. Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, that's epic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that Tinkercad's still kicking around because they're going to cancel it. They're
What?
Like, the company was like, we're going to focus
No,
our
I
servers
will not
on
be able to
something
model
else.
things anymore if they
I know.
cancel Tinkercad.
Remember the podcast where we talked about money and everyone got mad saying that our views on money were completely destroyed?
I don't think I was in that one because
you know
I
what?
understand money from the common man's
Well,
perspective.
you've eaten
I'm
eggs
not
out of
out
a
of
trash
touch
can.
like I'm not out of touch like everyone else here. I know money, and I cannot be canceled for it.
Do you know what I would do if someone gave me $1 billion?
What?
I think that I would start a company that makes powerful open source versions of like the software that I use that I like struggle with trying to obtain, like Adobe,
Yeah.
CAD software,
Oh yeah. Like a
PCB
free-
layout software.
you know.
Yeah,
But you would just make it for
just-
yourself.
Free
Just
I would-
throw
I would-
$1 million
Yep.
at free CAD.
I would actually be
Please
doing
make
it
it
for
better.
myself. Like just like I want this money to like go into like open source, like actual competitors, like essentially what Blender is.
Yeah.
Like I want
yeah.
the Blender of CAD. Like why doesn't that exist? Like there are projects, but they're just sort of.
But then you can call up your own engineers and say like, hey, can add this feature right now, and they do it.
Yeah, and if you're paying people and it's an actual company like Blender is an actual real company, and I don't understand how it works at all, but somehow it works, and you can download their software for free.
It's all solar powered crypto miners. Keeping
Oh
the
no!
lights
Yeah,
on there.
each new build of Blender has a miner in the background. That's why it's so CPU intensive.
That's the only way it could possibly
Yeah.
work.
I remember there was a guy who, after I posted the I'm Done video, I saw threads where this guy who, I think he worked on Cura. Cura's open source, right?
Oh, the slicer?
think
Yeah, I
so.
think so.
It's
Yeah.
with Ultimaker. He owns them, I think, though.
Cura open
Like the
source.
the
I'm pretty
program
sure.
that takes a model
Yeah.
and slices it into layers.
Yeah, for
so
3D
that
printing.
3D
For
Yeah,
people that don't know.
right. So Cura is essentially 3D printing post-processor where you take your model and then it turns it into actual paths that the machine follows, and it's specific to the machine.
Layer by layer.
Right. And it's open source, and there was a guy basically who was sort of like contributing to a thread that was talking about like the horrible feedback you can get from people sometimes about how he who works for free as like a side gig on Cura would get harassed and like shit on by people who were like mad that it didn't do certain things or wasn't working the way they wanted it to work.
Jeez. Don't they say like the free clients are the worst though? Like you
Yeah.
should, like,
Yes.
when you're doing jobs, like don't go for the cheap or free ones. You should just charge like a certain amount, so you get rid of all of that time waste
I
Yeah.
and
just
entitlement.
I started supporting a guy on Patreon who works at Make. His name is Caleb Craft. He does like
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I know him.
he does a lot of like control like disabled game controllers, like custom controllers for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
And he was
Oh, that's
talking.
sick, yeah.
He made a post trying to figure out like how do I handle people who are not disabled who want custom controllers, like a gamer who has like they want to try to modify something, and I just charge them a bunch. And if they're willing to pay you the money, like if you give them a go away number and they say okay, like they're gonna be easy to work with, because they're not like super stingy.
Yeah, Yeah.
And I feel like
the ones that pay a lot literally very rarely want changes.
Yeah.
They leave you alone.
Yeah.
They adhere to deadlines. It's just
and it's like
it's just a better place to be.
How do you feel about the 3D printing community and the whole sort of ecosystem being a race to the bottom? Like, how is it? I'm assuming that has influenced it into becoming kind of a cesspool.
It's exactly the same. People are entitled because they can now afford the cheaper stuff. So not everyone, but you definitely now get people who expect it to do amazing things for $200.
Right. I know. I think I know what it is. Like, because I sort of reminisce back in the day when like I was a kid. And, like, if I spent $200 on a printer, like that's a shitload of money for a kid. And so the kid is gonna be like, well, like what do you like? I spent $200. Like this better. Like you better fix this. This is $200. And it's like, no, you don't understand. Like $200 is nothing in the grand scheme of like what this printer should cost. You know.
That's why people lose their shit when they hear of how much like the industrial printers are. Like easily
like
$500,000
yeah.
for some of them.
Right.
But you're paying
and
for
some
like
of them,
a
they have like
gigantic ecosystem.
a subscription.
Yeah, no, you have to. It's like SolidWorks. You have like this maintenance fee, and like they'll fly someone from a different state out to you to repair it or maintain it. And if you don't use it, it loses its warranty. It's just like you're paying for that.
I would pay double the cost of a cheap printer for that same cheap printer, but if it just had additional like quality control. You know what I mean? Like if there was a $200 printer, I would pay $400 for that printer if I just knew that it like went through additional steps before it left the factory.
I think that's
like the only difference.
Basically, Prusa. Like if I had to recommend anything, it would be Prusa.
You can build it or buy it.
You can build it or buy it. I have never had a printer that just worked, other than Prusa.
Yeah, I'd agree.
The community.
I had 2 Mark IIIs.
Yeah, and they just worked. Like. Out of the box, like they sent us one when we did this Mr. Beast project. They sent it to North Carolina or wherever the hell we were, and we took it out of the box. They had pre-assembled it for us, and it just worked. We plugged it in and it just worked. And it's like, why would you buy anything else? The Slicer. Have you seen what they're doing?
It's $1,000.
Right. They took over Slicer. With an E?
Yeah, and they made it better.
And they made it like 10 times better. And it's like...
Who Prusa did?
Yeah. It is so good.
They forked it into Prusa Slicer.
Yeah.
What's the slicer that people pay that you can pay for though?
Simplify 3D was...
Oh yeah, Simplify 3D, yeah.
Which hasn't had an update for a very long time.
Yep. And like Prusa's trying to replace...
because they don't have the hordes of like 12-year-olds that just got a 3D printer for Christmas yelling at them.
Yep.
No.
Boy, I too would say glowing things about Prusa if they would send me a Prusa printer. My name is Pan.
I asked Theorem for a 3D printer like way long ago when I first started my channel, and they said no.
Really?
They just straight up were like, we don't want to associate with you.
I'm like, hey, I would love to do one of these printers because I want to do a video on like 3D, turning 3D print into metal. And they said, oh, well, yeah, this is already actually very documented. And we actually have, stuff for you to use like special resins. So you can just try this.
Damn,
but thanks for the interest.
Not sending you anything though.
Nothing.
I have a friend who right out of college started working at a 3D printer startup in LA. And it was essentially like, an early race to the bottom company that kind of did everything right, but I think it fell apart. And I can't remember what it was called. I could find it if I searched for it. But it essentially was trying to do the optimization for like really cheap manufacturing, where the rails were like, it had like, what is it called? The gear with the rack and pinion. Where the rack was molded a part of the like plastic housing, and so there'd be a motor that was like attached to the plastic housing, and then there was like a plastic tray that had a rack, and so it was all like trying to like hyper integrate the mechanical complexity into like the main body panels, and it had encoded motors, so it had really cheap motors with encoders, and so it was all just like as cheap as possible. I think it was like really crappy magnetic, or maybe it was optical encoders. And they had their whole ecosystem and everything where they were trying to do the store and the this and the that. And it ended up just like, it was just too much software and too much complexity to like optimize to get it down to that price point and also have it work well.
God, that's great. At that
But
point, I would just pay
Our
a guy
neighbors
on.
just started whippersnipping.
Yeah.
I would find a guy on Craigslist with a 3D printer pen, one of those things, and just pay a guy to like make something by hand at that point.
I think there's a YouTube channel of someone doing that, and they literally spend like 20 hours to build something huge just with a 3D pen.
Well, if it's $5 an hour, that's what, $100? That's that's not bad if you find someone who can do that.
Yeah.
I love the bad ideas. Like people like come up with an idea that's just horrible, like the 3D pens, and then they like they dump a bunch of money into making it work, and you have this thing where you're just like, why did you do this?
They're still around though, aren't they? Like people
They
still
were like
actually
so
buy.
hyped for kids because they were cheaper than a 3D printer, but they were still like 3D printing.
Yeah.
But you're giving a kid something with like a soldering iron tip, basically. And
Yeah.
I was literally at a trade show once, and the parents would just dump these kids at a table with them, and I saw the kid pick it up and be like,
Yeah,
just touch and then just start crying.
dude. If there's one thing I learned from working with
They're
kids, is
fun.
that they're filled with blood. They have too much blood, and it's just waiting to jump out at any moment.
Yeah,
Like,
I need to
the
yeah.
kids-
It's all a learning experience.
the slightest little thing that you do to a kid, blood will come pouring out of them. They just have too much of it.
Did you see the Alexa thing where someone like a kid asked Alexa for a challenge, and Alexa did its best and found some website that challenged them to stick a plug halfway into an outlet and then stick a penny on the contacts.
I saw that.
That's a good challenge. That's
No.
a very
I'm not sure if that would
educational
extract
challenge.
blood. It might cauterize whatever wound was formed, but
Yeah, do the opposite.
I kind of want to
See
do
what
that
you
now. I've done it with.
Oh yeah,
Epic.
Yeah, it does. It would. What would? It would
that's
just blow the
definitely a
breaker.
short.
That
That's
is
like
true.
a, that's
Yeah,
a
probably triple
TikTok or
breaker.
something.
Yeah.
Sandra, my girlfriend, like, she has like her iPhone plug in the bathroom, a little square in the wall, and then she took off some hoop earrings and laid them on the iPhone plug. So when she unplugged it, the hoop earring fell behind the
That's
plug, touched
so
the two
good.
wires, and exploded like
That's
the two prongs.
awesome.
Australia.
It was epic. It was
That's
probably
pretty
just
cool.
like that.
Australia, I think,
We have,
has. Yeah, the outlets protect against that. I think.
Like the
Yeah,
smart
we have like
outlets,
a
it's
like a
plastic.
heat shrink sort of sleeve thing that stops you from touching unless it's all the way in, and then it
Oh,
makes
that's
contact.
stupid. How are you supposed to do that cool penny challenge then?
Well, a lot of the
Yeah.
cheap printers come with unprotected plugs, which aren't grounded
Oh,
a lot
okay.
often as well. But
Have you ever
There
grabbed
you
the
go.
plug when you're pulling it out and shocked your two fingers on the prongs? Has anyone done
No,
that?
how would you?
Oh,
How do
because
you
of the
do that?
from the residue like capacitors in the power supply, I've done that.
No, it's like in America, if you can get your fingers behind the plug and touch it while it's still in the outlet and it's
So wait,
still
Kevin,
getting
you're
power.
touching the metal prongs. Like,
Okay,
as
have you
they're
never
in
like
there?
reached behind your bed to try to plug in a phone charger and you're like,
Have you ever given your
you know,
bed a
doing
reach
some-
around?
Have you ever stuck a
Yes.
fork in an outlet before?
is this?
You're not living.
Okay, I was wrong. Australia.
There's plenty of space here to touch when you're pulling it out. You're like, do you see that?
no,
you can
but
like
why
grab
are you?
it.
I
Well-
just don't
Yeah.
touch that part.
If
I
the
just
outlet
make sure
was
not to touch
designed
those parts.
correctly, you shouldn't shock yourself. It should disengage before you have enough contact. Okay,
Should.
I don't think it's
Yet
Australia.
here we are.
I don't understand why.
Oh, the UK, isn't it?
Is it
What-
the
what,
UK?
You can't do
where
it.
ground is at the top. So the ground pin
Yeah.
is at the top. I think maybe I'm just gonna Google this really quick. UK power outlets.
It has a flap, and when it goes through the
No,
flap, it
no, no, no,
opens
no,
up
no.
the rest.
It's the arrangement of the pins.
Yes, it's
I think
the arrangement of the
Tom
pins.
Scott did a video.
And it's genius because essentially if something falls behind the outlet, it will just roll off before having the ability to short to, like, instead of creating a perfect little area for a penny to sit, it'll like, there's the third prong, the ground prong is up top, so it'll hit it and then it'll just like fall off. I think it's the UK.
No, that's smart.
But you could
Or,
do
I
it
mean,
here.
it's-
If we only had 3-prong outlets and they were all installed where the ground prong, the little circle prong was at the top, that's like the safest way you could do it, I think. I mean, I'm
You
just
could
talking
you
out my
could
ass
do
right
that
now.
though, right? You could just take your outlets right now and then reinstall them upside down, and then
There's probably not a code though. You'll probably get like, you
Yeah.
know,
oh, you get
It'll
dinged
be like
for
a
that.
USB. You'll keep inserting things wrong all the time.
yeah,
Yeah.
all mine are the regular way, ground on bottom.
Not Australian style.
Yeah.
Oh, but
upside
that's
down.
right. Is yours ground on bottom too?
Yeah. Let me check.
Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, but you just call it
Start,
Australian style
start
because it's
sticking
upside
paper
down.
clips in there, and you'll figure out which one's ground.
Dude, it's
So I think China has the same as us, but it's like sideways or maybe upside down. It's the same design, but the lead goes off a different direction.
I can't believe
For some
You
reason.
should just have it where you have to plug in the bare wires individually into some outlet and
Like it's just all your appliances are just like suicide cables, and you have to just
Yes.
stick like
it's suicide
Just
cable
so
on
No
both
isolation
ends.
transformers, just straight in.
no isolation transformer at all. Just raw dog it. Everything.
Dude,
God.
people would know so much more about electricity if we did
Yes,
it that
they
way.
would.
They would learn so fast.
You
all
have to.
sorts of-
I think
Learn
they'd
fast.
selectively remove themselves.
Trial by fire. Everyone's really smart because the dumb ones died.
Yeah, I think that we've been really stagnating a lot on Darwinism and survival of the fittest. This will help keep the human race
It's a part of
evolving.
God's
Oh, I feel like we're
Like
gonna
this.
get there. Yeah, I think once global warming hits a certain point, definitely it's gonna put a lot of selective pressures on us that weren't there before.
I thought we were just trending towards like idiocracy.
Oh no, I think we'll all die way before then.
Probably.
Anyways,
Hopefully.
3D printers are cool, right?
Yeah.
But wait, what about besides 3D printers? How about keyboards, huh?
Oh yeah.
Do you, what?
Someone got a little bit obsessed.
oh, what the
Yeah.
hell? Is that like a server room?
You never
behind
talk about
or
that, but I
a
see like some keyboards, some
unhealthy-
really nice like
It's-
mixing equipment.
I can't move the camera, but it's maybe I can.
Oh,
It's all
Oh, look
yeah.
at that rack.
Wow.
'Cause I-
That's a
I used
nice
to use
The
like-
rack on that.
Nice
It's a big rack.
That's
So I used to use like server like software instruments for years, and then like I watched this Dead Mouse video where he's talking about analog gear, and
Dude,
I was like, I
saw
shouldn't have
that
ever
stuff.
watched that video.
He's got like this wall of all these different
Yeah.
synthesizers and
And he's just twiddling these dials, and he's like, "Look, because it's analog, there's no quantization between like the points. Like it's a sweep that's smooth." And I'm like, "I wish I never heard that, because now I can't ever go back." So since lockdown last year, I just started slowly acquiring. Like I'd look on like Facebook Marketplace and that, and all these people were selling 80 cents and stuff. And I just slowly sort of added to it.
Very similar to the train man, the old man who plays with trains. in
Yeah, a
space.
little bit.
it's a hip version.
you know what? It is in a way. Almost.
The weird thing about them, the synths though, is because everything got more expensive during lockdown. Like all the collectibles went up, so like people are starting to try to hoard synthesizers, and the price went really high for some of them.
So
I don't
mean,
think
if
that
it
you're an
beats
old man
inflation,
with
that's a
trains
solid
until you start
investment.
like making your own synths out of phase lock
Yeah.
loop chips.
Oh
and
my
stuff
god!
Like that.
Well, some of them are like frequency modulation, like the old Yamaha stuff, and like to get your
Yeah.
head wrapped around that is just like what? I don't really
Have you-
understand.
Who were we talking? I was talking about Pocket Operator with somebody. I forget, but do you know what those are?
Yeah,
It's like
they're
a little-
pretty fun.
I've
They're
got one
fun.
of those.
You have one?
Yeah, I've never really,
They're cool.
I never did anything with it, but I got it as just sort of like a little. I was like, oh, maybe I'll make little jingles for my channel. That was like 5 years ago or something.
Yeah, that's way harder
instead
than
of
it
paying
looks.
for
Yeah.
music, I'll make my own.
I've got a friend with
Hey,
like
this
a bunch
was
of
5
synths,
years ago
too.
when I was still when I was
Eating
with
eggs
the
out of a
common
trash can.
people, like I am now. I am
like
of
everyone
common
else does.
people.
If you're not eating eggs out of a trash can, you have too much money.
exactly.
One of my favorite parts of that was Chubby Emu just being horrified the whole time.
Yeah, he just was like. He was so sure that we were gonna end, or I guess I was gonna end up as like a future case study for a video.
We couldn't.
Which,
Like, how
you know,
long can I leave a chicken nugget in my car
He
and
would
not
not
die?
answer that question. I could not
dodged
get it
it.
out of him. He wouldn't. I still think it's the 8-month chicken nugget. I think.
I reckon. I think you're right. Like it becomes jerky eventually,
Right.
especially if
Oh,
it's
yeah,
fast
totally.
food. Like you see the videos of people having McDonald's and they leave it somewhere for a year and it's like untouched.
Like, is it the
It's
bacteria
like a wood chip
residue,
at that point.
or is it the bacteria itself? Like, I don't really know. Like botulism.
think
It's just it's a husk you touch it just goes because it's just
The
being
moisture
hollowed
is
out by
important.
bacteria.
right.
I think as long as the moisture is below a certain level, it's gonna be like uninhabitable for.
Yeah, if it
anything,
dries out
basically.
fast,
Yeah.
you won't get a lot of bacteria
Like,
to
But
repopulate.
yogurt
in
has bacteria in it, and that's good.
Well, that's
Good
different.
bacteria.
That's different. Yeah, that's a good culture.
Good
You,
bacteria.
I don't think there's
My
such a thing
chicken
as a
nugget
good
has
chicken
bacteria in it.
culture.
Why? What makes that bacteria bad?
There's no.
It's like
good
saying
meat
like I can
cultures.
eat this mushroom. Why can't I eat this mushroom?
Yeah, exactly. Who's gonna stop me from eating this
I wonder
mushroom?
how
that
they
I
figured
found
out
on the
which
ground?
ones killed people.
Isn't it Cody? Cody's lab? Is he the one who eats mushrooms? Like he goes out foraging,
Oh.
or is that Drake? Is that
I think
I
it's.
would say
I think
Drake.
it's Drake.
I would say both of them.
If Cody found mushrooms, he'd probably eat them. I'm not sure if there's a lot of mushrooms where he is. Though.
Drake definitely does.
Yeah.
He posts
Is
on
he
his
the one who
Instagram.
goes out and like does the foraging for actual
Yeah.
like fresh mushrooms?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
cool.
pretty sure.
You'd want to know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the thing. If you you definitely can die if you do that wrong. So it's like you have to be
can
really
die
smart
doing
or really
anything, though.
stupid.
Just
Not
eat the
but you
mushroom.
avoid the
Just
things
eat the
that give you high
mushroom.
risk of dying.
Just eat the mushroom you found on the ground. Live your life. If you die, you die. You won't even.
You won't live your life then.
Well, you live.
Who
the
would
rest
you
of
rather
it
eat a
out.
mushroom from, Drake or Cody? If they handed you a random mushroom.
Definitely Drake Anthony. Yeah, I would choose Drake.
I'd
Anthony.
probably choose Drake too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody.
Well, they don't have any
to see if
mushrooms.
it was safe.
Cody's might be full of mercury or something.
Yeah, the mercury mushrooms.
Growing on the walls of his chicken hole base.
Oh. Locking himself out of his car with like jackals or something.
Cody's cool. He's been doing some
He's cool,
interesting
yeah.
stuff, but it's too high level in a way.
Cody's
Like
a good science person and a questionable YouTuber.
I think you
Well, that's
eventually
like-
reach
that's
that
I would,
point
you know,
though.
it's not
That's
bad.
the
I wouldn't
life,
even say
though.
because who else is like that? Ben Krasnov,
Ben Krasnow's
Yes.
like that.
same way. You know,
And they've all kind of ascended. It's like you know, like when
exactly. They don't even
like-
care about making YouTube videos anymore. They just do what they want.
it's like
And
when
you're
at the
along
end
for
of
the ride.
Aladdin where the genie gets released from the bottle and he's completely free and he still
Yeah.
has all his power. That's what it's like. It's like you still have all of the science power, but you're not like chained down to like trying to make a video perform anymore.
I think
like
Ben
it's
is
so
like that.
powerful.
I think
Ben is
Cody
definitely like
needs to
that.
go to like a YouTuber boot camp for like a week.
No.
Yes.
No.
Have you
I
been
think-
to
Come on,
one?
Cody.
I think he
I'm trying
should
to
do the opposite.
I'm trying to get him on the podcast, and he's just like, what
Yeah.
did he say?
I think he should get worse at YouTube and even better at
No.
science. He'd be unstoppable, dude.
There was have you seen like photonic induction? This
Yeah. Oh yes, the
Yeah.
crazy
English
English,
guy?
dude. Yes, who's like,
Yeah.
that's peak YouTube from like, you know, when it was still like Wild West.
I haven't heard of him. What does he do?
he
like
almost
he-
kills himself
he
every
runs,
video.
like-
You
Yeah,
definitely
he
heard
like
of him.
he did a video of like popping like a was like a 5
5,000
million
amp
amp
fuse.
fuse
Yeah.
or something.
500, probably like a
Oh,
500.
I've seen
20,000
that
watt
video.
light
I've
bulb.
seen the
that lights up
thumbnail.
his
Yeah.
Neighborhood.
You can like see
His
it's like,
carpet's always scorched from like the high voltage.
you know, Christmas Vacation, where Clark Griswold turns the Christmas lights on and the whole city goes dark, and they're like the power plant are like flicking switches. This is that guy. The whole like this guy is
Imagine the neighborhood.
dude, like actually consuming probably a very large portion of his entire neighborhood's power.
You know what
Just
he
to pop
said
a
is
fuse, that's
he was
awesome.
gone for like 3 years or something about that, and it's because his wife was an immigrant and he needed money to get the marriage and get all the paperwork done to marry her and like make it all legit. So he had to grind his job for 3 years to do that, and he stopped making YouTube videos. But if he stayed with YouTube, he could have done it in like 6 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially with the kind of
hard.
crap he does. Like,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
It's wild. Like it's stuff no one else would try. That's why it was so addictive.
Yeah.
I would never. I think
You gotta kind of be stupid to do it
Yeah.
too. And you gotta be your own kind of stupid.
Very
You gotta be a
Yes.
smart kind of stupid.
Yeah. I feel like we're there.
It's a risk for sure.
Kevin's got that Florida smart.
I dropped out of college. All right,
your-
I've
Yeah.
Is
got
that
all
by
my
choice?
eggs in this basket. Yeah,
No,
by choice.
Kevin's-
It was either YouTube or college.
That's a very Mr. Beast
Couldn't
answer
do
too.
college.
And I definitely
You could
did
choose
of
one or the
them.
other.
Now,
So I'm
Kevin's-
riding this bad boy. I'm just gonna
Kevin's
keep
got
going.
that the Florida smarts. I'm always impressed with how Kevin can just sort of like do things with this sort of crackhead energy, and it just like gets done in a way that like I would just take way longer to like think about consequences and stuff. And by
That's
the
the
time
thing. I don't care if something.
by the time I've
breaks.
like even considered how something might go, Kevin's already got like something wired up on the ground and plugged into the wall. It's actually amazing.
Okay, the
You just gotta
infinite
do it.
monkey theorem.
Oh, this is good.
The
What's
infinite
this?
monkey theorem states a monkey hitting keys at random on a typewriter keyboard for an infinite amount of time will
Oh, yeah,
almost surely
Shakespeare.
type any given text. I think that Kevin has some infinite monkey theorem going on where he just bangs rocks together and then things happen.
My
Is there-
two neurons are in my brain.
Yeah, like computers.
Morse coding.
Computers, if you learn how computers work, computers are like very they do simple tasks. Like they're not smart, but they can do those simple tasks so quickly and so persistently that it looks like they're smart and like thinking about what's going on.
So you
That's
say
Kevin.
it's
Kevin
two
is like,
neurons that are just like it's like tapping.
It's like a really small. It's like those nitro engines
Yeah.
can rev really high.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
yes.
You know, you can even have this big diesel thumper. You know, like boom, 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 making big thoughts, and I'm just like,
I feel like Kevin is constantly going. I have such a huge issue. Like if I have something I'm supposed to be doing, like editing my videos, I get nothing else done, and then I procrastinate, and so I get nothing done at all. Kevin, even if he's not working on a video, he's working on something else.
I am the most productive when I'm actively avoiding doing actual work.
That's the best
It's
kind
the
of
truth.
procrastination.
Yep.
Dang.
When we were just in Florida, he like whips out this freaking like jet engine, like a ramjet. And I'm like, what?
Oh,
what?
hell yeah.
Like where the hell did this come
That
from?
worked.
Yeah, and I just like, did you make a video about it? And he's like, he just made it and then figured out a video later. Like he literally just made this ramjet, and then
I made it because I didn't want to do my nitro RC engine.
Oh
That's
my
it.
god.
So jet
And
engine's
then-
easier.
do you struggle with making?
Oh, we
a video?
never did the. We still have to do the sequel to making toys dangerous.
Oh yeah, I got some good ideas for
Yeah,
this.
I want to do the jump rope that's covered in razor blades to motivate you not to hit the rope.
Best form ever.
Exactly, double Dutch. Except you'll die if you mess it up.
Cuts your head off.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just smash your face.
Oh no, it's like a taser, right? It's like electrically charged, and
there
you're
you
hooked
go.
up to the
Taser
ground.
jump rope. No, it's got to be just literally like
Or
razor
one's
blades,
live
the little
and one's
razor
neutral.
blades, and
if you
it's
get
just
tangled up,
like just a
You
bunch
die.
of them arranged like an inch apart on the jump rope, and that's
Wait.
it. That's what I would want to do.
You
it hits the ground, it's like
you do
sl-
combat robotics.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
this poster. It says Robo Wars behind you.
Yeah, I used to. They're all old. 2012.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
I forgot because you helped Alex with. What did you help him with?
Oh yeah, we built
The
that
lawnmower.
remote controlled lawnmower.
The POV lawnmower, right, where he
Yeah,
could mow the
yeah.
lawn in VR.
Yeah, that basically had like the wheelchair motors were essentially
Oh,
what
yeah, I
using like a
remember that.
heavyweight. Yeah.
jazzy.
I built my own like 1 pound robot, and I made a video about it that I never edited.
Upload it.
Well,
Although
it's not edited.
Oh, was
Combat
it the one
robot
where you
videos either
used
don't
you made it out of a
very well.
crab
Yeah,
corpse?
I made it out of an actual crab.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like you had the spinning razor
Yeah.
blade.
So man, I want to ask you about your combat, bro. I want to get your reaction. So I made it was a crab shell that was on like a plastic base, and the weapon was like 6 just razor blades that were on like a central, like on a brushless motor, and they were like
Yeah.
tilted to kind of give it like a cool, like, you know, blade look. But the problem was,
take off.
yes, if you spun it up too quickly, it would actually lift off the ground. And also then at one point it exploded and the razor blades all shot out, and they shot out like 25 feet in
Good
random
gosh.
directions. But what kind of combat robots do you build?
Yeah, how many
well, it's
crabs
been a
do you
while.
use?
Are there events?
We used to do featherweights. Yeah, featherweights are like 13.6 kilos. I don't know what that is in pounds. Like 30 pounds?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's a lot.
25,
So
30.
they're not tiny, but they're not heavyweights.
big enough
like
to kill you.
Yeah, 100%. So we've had it. We used to fight in the back of some guy's shed, and we just put a layer of polycarbonate in the front. It just used to be 3 millimeters thick
Holy
to start with,
What?
and then we doubled it up to another 6 millimeter layer with like an air gap.
Like,
Okay.
all right,
And,
guys, we have $1,000. We'll spend $990 on robots and $10 on not dying.
No, we were broke as fuck. We had no money. Like the most expensive thing I had was a radio, which was like $200, which was like all my money. We'd go to the wreckers and get the motor, like the fan motors for the blades and that, because we couldn't get anything fancy and purpose made. But it was a tin shed, so we had like blast matting around the side, but the roof was just tin. So like when you have like the verticals versus the horizontal spinners, they're the most violent interactions. Like stuff would just go through the roof.
Yeah.
It's like a suburban neighborhood.
That's what BattleBots should be, though. BattleBots is
yeah.
it's too slick and engineered now. That's what it should be.
Have you seen the I shouldn't mention it, the Indian ones?
Yes, I was literally just gonna say that. It's
No,
bad.
this
There's
sounds
videos
fun.
of people just straight up.
So you know how like one of the most expensive parts of the robots is the battery packs? Like they cost an absolute fortune. So a lot of their fights are like wired to like
Oh, dude, that's
external
awesome.
like mains or something.
That's so
epic.
good. Holy shit, that's awesome.
And there's no roof. There's rarely walls. They've gotten a bit
That
better, but
makes
it used to be
things
like
Is the
so
roof gonna
much
stop it
simpler.
anyway?
Now this is a proper Robo Fight Club.
Yeah, because that
Yeah,
means like you can
proper
control
Fight
by
Club.
wire. Like you're at that point, you could literally use like light switches.
Yeah, no, you
like,
just have to
yeah.
you have to plug it in and out really quickly.
You're just shorting wires together.
That's the truest, purest form of BattleBots, I think. Is having to plug wires in to steer your robot around. Like
get
you're a
some old
1930s like a phone operator.
Switchboard operator. You get some old lady that's controlling it. She's the fastest one.
Yeah, she's plugging like 1/4-inch jacks in everywhere, and they're like
Yeah.
sparking and burning out. So you have to keep swapping.
Someone's like
That's
constantly resetting
so
the breakers.
Oh, those kids are fighting robots again.
I mean, that basically, if you were doing that, you could make a robot for like $10, dude. If you
Oh,
were just
yeah.
had everything powered off the wall. Like,
But that's the funnest. That honestly, that's what's the most fun because it was like an arms race. More and more money went into it, and it got less and less fun. You
Yeah.
had people building them out of like 6mm thick titanium. They would import, and like I was a kid, I was like, I can't do that. I'm building out of crap. We would dumpster dive steel from like the back of factories and things.
That's
So
one
if
of
you
my-
make them from rubbish, it's almost more enjoyable because if they blow up,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, you don't care.
yeah.
yeah.
You almost want to destroy it.
Yeah, you almost want to see it explode. You don't want to take it home. You just want to get it ripped apart.
That's my
Well,
biggest
I like
qualm.
the idea of animal robot fights.
Oh no.
Like you've got the crab, you've got like a little stuffed chihuahua or something
God.
with a flamethrower.
What's that old show, the
Maybe like a-
Transformers show, but it was animals?
Beast Wars. Beast Wars.
Beast Wars?
Yeah, Beast Wars. There's a whole canon
Yeah.
to it. It was like they were actually descendants of the Transformers. It's a whole thing.
Alan, you got the animal facts, even if it's robot animals.
Yeah, I mean, there was literally one of the plot points of Beast Wars was that the original Transformers on Earth had stored data on the gold plates that we sent out into space. What
Yeah.
are they called? The Voyager plates.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
The OG Megatron put secret data on those plates, and somehow they like went back in time. And then the
It's
Beast
called
Wars had
Beast
to like
Wars
recover
That's
that.
went back in
Transformers.
time.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
to like
'Cause they were in like
Yeah,
because they were in like caveman times, even though there was dinosaurs. Oh, because Dinobot scanned a
shit.
fossil,
Nice.
and that's how he got the dinosaur form in Beast Wars.
They're dinosaurs. You're right. I'm looking at it now. There's like T-Rexes.
Yeah, no, but those
and
were
cheetahs.
because they did a DNA scan of the local flora and fauna, and they scanned the fossils. That's why they transformed into dinosaurs. Dinosaurs weren't alive at the time when they landed because there was sort of like prehistoric man there who they had to protect because otherwise it would mess up the future Transformers timeline.
Perfect sense.
Yeah,
Wait, was this a
the-
TV show?
Yeah,
Is
it was
this
a TV
real?
show because they were future descendants of the Transformers, but they were sent back on time onto primitive Earth, and so there were no vehicles, so they had to
Oh
take
my
animal
God.
forms.
Is God canon
also-
in this show?
Wait.
Sort of. Basically, they worship the Allspark, and that was kind of like the transcendental collection of all their robot souls, and so their individual sparks would rejoin the Allspark when they died.
I've
kind of-
never met anyone who has been able to explain it that clearly, or actually explain it at all.
Yeah, literally.
Wait,
There's gonna be one person in the comments who's so into this. He's gonna be like, hell yeah, Alan! You
Well,
Well, you've gotten,
Yeah.
you've gotten one of the facts slightly wrong, and then it's going to hate your guts.
Oh, and they're gonna like
Oh
tear
my
me apart.
god.
Well, actually, Alan.
God
Essay.
is canon to the Transformers universe.
He was a garbage truck.
Clearly, you didn't watch the Jesus Christ Transformer.
He was a hot tub. Jesus Christ was a hot tub.
I'm sorry. I'm watching this show.
No, dude,
No,
don't
bad
watch it
Trevor.
right now.
Watch
but there
this.
you
I
get
posted.
toys
I
of it
posted
too,
a
couldn't
video.
you?
Yeah. No, I have some right here, actually. Like, literally. Actually,
No.
right here.
That's why he knows it.
Holy
This is Dinobot. This is the
No.
original. This is Dinobot right here. And he had a really sad death scene in the original series, and he actually like the his death monologue he gives out. I'm pretty sure it's like from Hamlet, actually. Like they do a whole
that's deep.
Shakespearean thing, yeah.
Beast Wars. Dinobot
Like-
dies 14 years ago.
It was an homage.
But
It was an homage, but it actually was just plagiarism.
Well, I remember watching when I was a kid.
Can we, for the love of God and all that is
I have no choice at all. I am a warrior.
Of all the things I thought we could get Alan started on, this is not it. This is
I
very
destroyed this valley and everything in it. Face it, Dinobot, you're all technology. Obsolete. What could you possibly do?
Wow.
Kevin's into
Love
it.
I'm
Kevin's
pretty
into
keen,
it
to be
now.
honest.
Yeah, I don't really know where we go from here.
I wanted
I'm gonna
to
make a real Dinobot.
Sex Dinobot. Did I say that out loud?
You meant to say the soft part quietly.
I really like dinosaurs.
I can't
wanted
actually
to-
tell where in this he dies because it's about 5 pixels total.
I wanted to talk about the YouTube dislikes.
Oh yeah.
Did you have something to do with that, Will? Because that was
yeah.
like right after you complained.
I know. It's my fault.
Is it actually?
No, it's not.
Okay.
But so I have had some people saying that very angrily at me that it's my fault. I think
Really? Did people actually think that it's you? Because
Yeah.
it was like right after you
It
released
was.
that video.
But the thing is, like, if you had any idea how YouTube worked, you would realize that it's not me because first of all, they'll never just listen to one person and then enact something.
Absolutely.
They like any of your
No.
feedback you have, you might see like a shimmer of it years in the future. But I also never. It's stupid. I think it's stupid.
Dislikes
It's
are
terrible.
the least of the problem that anybody could ever deal with.
And I
Would
think
be
It's,
like
the
a
it's the
dislike.
comments. It's just the
yeah.
Yeah.
No more comments. We get dislikes back, but now there are no more comments.
yeah.
That might be better.
Well, if you're
actually.
4 kids, yeah, you've lost everything.
I think that I've already experienced having trouble like verifying that something is not good or
I have
genuine.
too. Absolutely.
I saw this fake Spider-Man trailer that was very well done, but fake. And it took me a hot second to realize it was fake. And tutorials.
And by that time, you've already given them watch time. You've watched the
Yeah.
ad or whatever.
Yeah. And like you do printer shit, so it's like you
Yeah.
look for potentially stuff. Like I look for stuff. Like everyone looks for technical stuff. And it's definitely frustrating to not be able to validate if it's worth your time or not.
Yeah, one of the shittest videos that is in my genre is like top 10 printers of 2021, right? And what they'll do is it'll be a video from like 2017 of crappy Kickstarter like videos just back to back, and they'll just change the title every year to
my
so it's probably
God.
2022 now.
Oh god.
So if you don't know, you think, oh, it's really funky because all Kickstarter videos are meant to be really like sexy and engaging, but then without being able to see the dislikes, because obviously they're voted down to oblivion.
Jeez.
But they still get heaps of hits.
Right.
So they just persist, and it just pisses me off.
I mean, how much money could they possibly make doing that? Like,
They got
like
a
what,
few
50
million views,
bucks?
some of them.
If you
Oh, shit, really?
if you do this
Yeah,
over and over and
over a
over and
million.
over and over again, like if they have 100, 200 other videos that they're constantly just posting garbage and hiding it. There's a bunch of BattleBot
Right.
videos that do this where it's like there's this thumbnail of like this orange like standing walking robot where it's like top 10 BattleBots, and it's like what I've never seen that robot, and it's like it's not in the video because it's not real.
It's not. No. There's,
Right, like that. The meme compilation that Kevin showed us in Florida, and the thumbnail was a lady covered in goo, and she never
Yeah.
appeared once in the
Yeah.
compilation.
Yeah. There's a really funny one
Horrible.
that I was looking at the other day. They use this like Karen with a gun, and they Photoshop her into like the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Don't ever do this, or like like
God.
the English Queen's like guards. You won't believe this, and it's just she's like holding a gun with her face out, like screaming at these people. But it's so fake
It's
photoshopped, but it still works.
Yeah.
Still works.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
There's this channel I'm looking at here, Simply Tech. All they do is stuff like Tesla's insane new phone is a game changer. Rip Apple, and it's like Tesla's new cyber motorcycle, and it's all fake. It's all totally fake,
It's all garbage.
and it's getting recommended to me, and
Yep.
you can't tell.
I talked to somebody who thought it was a good idea, and I feel like it's the problem with everything is there's like
Name and
ideas.
shame. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't.
was-
Don't.
It was, you like it might work for some instances, but then it opens this whole other section of problems that you never even realized. And I think that's kind of what happened. Is it's like a good idea, and for some people it does help who get like brigaded, but then it creates this whole new issue, like, you know, like
for
and it's terrible else. For tutorials too, because you can't quickly find a good one.
Yep.
Like I've felt that already.
I have.
It's pretty hard to find a good
and
one.
It's super frustrating. And it's
I mean,
like,
I was kind of hoping that at the very least it would mean I would like get less dislikes. Like if the motivation for some people is just to see the little bar move. But so far my videos, like the videos I've published since that happened, have gotten pretty much the same amount, like the same ratio as I typically get. So like didn't even really.
Oh, does it still show you dislikes on?
Yeah,
it shows you the percentage.
Analytics.
It shows you the percentage, so you can see the absolute number of likes and then the percent likes to dislikes. It won't show you the exact number of dislikes, but
I literally never would look at this anyway.
What if it's just got a happy face that if it's below 50% turns into a frowny face?
It's slowly like droops.
Yeah, like I was just saying, like it has to incrementally the smile goes down, which is not.
It goes from
like one or the other.
Happy to like red and sad and
Vomiting.
crying, a tear appears.
Yeah, when you hit
putting on a
0%, it
noose
just
over
like the under 50%.
That's when it gets demonetized.
Starts melting off its face and it becomes a bare skull.
Yeah, because their whole argument about it like protecting the creators makes no sense, but you can just see it anyway.
Honestly, I think the most downvoted video I have too is this video where we went, what is it? How to get banned from boat club or something?
Oh yeah, I had like a gun on the boat or something.
Yeah, we strapped a gun to the top, and we ended up making it work in another video, but people got really mad at it, and I think the like to dislike ratio was like 80 or 90% or something, which is like.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you were being a soy boy in that video.
I was.
So, that's a fair.
Was he? I don't even remember.
No,
that's why we should have the dislike button.
I was worried about the BB gun because it looks really real. And if you walk around with a BB
I get
gun,
it.
that looks really real. Where I live,
people get shot for that.
The police will show up.
Yeah,
and
so he deserves those dislikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now we can't see him anymore.
I'll say it right now. It is.
I'm looking. I can't even find it.
Is it likes? What? Where do I find? Oh, likes versus dislikes. Lifetime.
Man, only 3.8% female, 96.2% male.
That sounds about right. Most tech channels.
Girls, what are you doing?
Not
I'll tell you what,
us.
Kevin. Let me tell you. Check your stats on TikTok. I guarantee you they're better. There's definitely, I believe there's a bias when you have to pick your own titles, thumbnails versus when content is served to you. I guarantee you, you're going to have more women watching on TikTok where the content is served.
88% likes, so like 12% dislikes. I think it's the worst.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of dislikes.
It's a lot of dislikes, but that's a solid B+. I can't complain.
Yeah, it's not like to oblivion. Like you've uploaded blatantly dangerous false tutorial information or something.
Oh yeah, look at that. 26% female
on TikTok. I told you every time. That's like guaranteed. It's just there's some weird social dynamics going on, I think, and also there's just more women on TikTok, like absolute number wise. But you're gonna have more women watching on TikTok, probably more on for sure on Instagram if you have Instagram Reels. I don't know if they have those analytics there. I'm transforming the dino bot.
He's just aggressively taking this robot back and forth between dinosaur and...
Well, see, this dino
I can't believe
he's got a battle mask that opens up, because that was the look he had on the TV show. He's got this battle mask that he never actually used on TV, but it opens up, and that was his TV look. His TV face is right there. Yeah. So, I don't know, I'm trying to do it in a not distracting way, and then you brought it up.
It's like filling with a
Is that original?
Cube.
I was just trying to fidget spinner it, and then you had to bring it up.
All I hear is just
now that's what we're focused on.
Click, 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 click.
All the pieces folded.
I'm gonna turn him back into a dinosaur.
No, God, just put it back on the shelf.
Well, yeah, I gotta turn him back into a dinosaur if I put him back, because that's how I got him off the shelf, was he was a dinosaur.
Yeah, I'm a persistent I've been fidgeting with this bolt the whole time. just
oh yeah,
playing with it. Persistent fidgeter.
Does it turn into a robot?
Probably part of one.
Yeah.
There's a wheel of some robot's just going to fall off somewhere because it did put the nut back on.
Keep talking about what you were talking about.
I saw this Reddit thread, I think earlier this month. That was great. It was talking about, it was like, you know, the monkey paw subreddit where you have a thing and then there's all the consequences that come with it.
Right. Yeah. Like the monkey's paw wish. Yeah.
And it was talking about how like videos on YouTube, like it was something like sexualized, and like the monkey paw output was everything on YouTube has to become sexualized now. So it's like they decide that family friendly is not the way to go. So they go the exact opposite direction and everything has to be sexual.
Oh, wow.
And the whole thread is just like this atrocious, like, what if YouTube went down this, like, all the videos to compete with each other have to somehow be, like, sexualized.
Wow.
Like,
what
how
would
the different genres
lawyer
would cope.
Yeah,
like exactly. What would lockpicking? It's all like chastity belts or like. Yeah.
Will backdoor scientist is finally
scientist. Phoenix from the ashes.
Backdoor scientist will have
he
his
arises
day.
butt naked, high on meth.
Yes.
Oh wait, hold on. I got it.
With his companion, the front yard scientist.
The front door scientist.
The front door scientist.
So anyways, that's the question. If you had to make your channel very sexual, what would you do?
It's pretty funny, actually. Like, reviews generally do pretty badly. So, for one of the recent ones, I put this, like, 3D printed ass in the thumbnail. And it's like the best performing review ever.
I saw that one. That was good. That was a great thumbnail.
I need to talk the Lola Bunny butt.
Lola,
I
could
was
recognize
so
that butt
happy
anywhere.
when you did that. That's my favorite thumbnail of all time.
Yeah.
If I could figure out a way to put a Lola Bunny ass into each and every one of my videos, I completely, totally would.
It's
not even
clearly
for the
the
audience,
future.
Oh my
not even for the
God.
clicks, but for myself. You know.
It was
Yeah.
good.
How to make 3D printing sexy. Just Lola
Just
Bunny.
Lola Bunny. Lola Bunny. I don't know
100%.
why you did. I don't know why you didn't do it again. You only did it the one time.
Yeah, I
Why
try not
like-
to do it too much, but like I did a video on Skyrim because it was like been 10 years, and I was like, oh, could I sexualize that a bit? But, well, they're not like
dragon.
all the characters are ugly
Sexy Skyrim dragon.
unless you mod it, I suppose.
Little goblin butt.
Yeah, yeah.
Only more Lola Bunny all the time, every time.
That's a point to get a resin printer. You can like
Okay,
detail.
resolution.
hey,
Detail.
peep those voxels.
Do you ever get
so good.
like kind of run like you feel like you don't have any ideas or get frustrated with like doing 3D printing stuff, like coming up with video
Well, that's
ideas?
why I didn't call my channel 3D printing anything, because like the whole idea was to do other technologies. It's just 3D printing happened to be stupidly popular. But I'm trying to move on past that, because like half the time when you're doing projects, like sure, a 3D printer is useful, but what about like laser cutting?
Yeah.
Like it's 10 times faster, you can use better materials. And like CNC, you want to make something that's not going to just be crap and weak. Like you can't beat CNC. So yeah.
What if
I
you
think
became
once-
one of those Lego channels? Those always do really
Oh,
good. Like
geez,
the
they
guys
do
who like
so
build
well.
stuff out of Legos, and they like.
Or the
do
guys that
just-
race cars down like little Hot
Oh
Wheels
yeah,
cars.
yeah. You
And they do
could
the
probably make
commentary.
that sexy. Yeah,
I've
you
never
could-
seen
you
those
could-
videos. Do they do good?
They're
me an
they're a
example.
black hole in themselves. There's like a guy that does the Marble Olympics.
Yeah, the marbles.
Yeah.
It's made good because he's got a good personality. He does a good voiceover.
Woo.
Otherwise, it's
Lego
Oh, yeah,
car
none of us
racing,
could pull that
millions
off.
of views.
not easy. It's not easy.
Should you describe Lola's butt for the
Yeah.
audio listeners?
It looks like a pumpkin.
big
You know, like
dumpy.
pumpkins have the ridges. It's a big dumpy pumpkin, except it's blue.
But not a lot of visible ridges because it's SL.
It's resin. Yeah, it's resin.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
resin. It's
resin.
very high
Very
detail.
smooth. 8K.
Yeah.
Little
And
tail
specific,
sticking
I
out
know
of the pants.
exactly what that was modeled after, the promotional image of her with the towel around her neck.
Yeah.
I know just from the backside of the thumbnail that that's a model of that image specifically of Lola Rabbit.
There's
of Lola
like
Bunny.
It's a
Some
really
Rain
good,
Man.
really good model.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
usually the organic models are pretty rubbish, but that one, the guys that did it, Chaos Cortec, it's just so accurate.
How off the record, how big do you think you could print it?
On that machine, it's 400 millimeters high, so that's.
We're gonna
Oh,
need
that's
to figure
getting
out-
there.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
It would
yeah,
take
that's
about a
pretty
week.
close.
What
That's
about on
fine.
flex filament?
I mean, your Creality could probably do it in a few bits.
You think?
I have a roll of TPU I've never used.
Yeah.
Can you
printing
make
myself a life-size Lola for reasons?
That's the title. That's the title. You got it. Dude, you
that
want
would
views?
actually-
That's it.
I printed a life-size rubber Lola. What do I do next?
Yeah.
What I do next will
this
shock
happened.
you.
Just slap it around. Who's the video where he gets the life-size doll and he just slaps it? Pay money, wubby.
Oh my god, no. There's this video, I don't know if I've showed it to you guys. It's one of the worst, best videos I've ever seen that I've like my friends and I used to watch in high school. It's this guy who does like sex toy reviews, and he is
I know this one.
goddamn professional. This man is he is like could teach a master class on delivering technical information of the most I can't even describe it. You have to watch it. I don't want to say it.
How's his delivery? Is it like totally deadpan, or is it like?
It's brilliant. It's like he tells you
They're
everything
big
you need to know about it.
silicone
He's not
booties.
afraid. He's
Big
not
silicone
ashamed to
butts.
slap it around and stick it. Just,
What's the battery life?
Stick kit.
it's got. He's like. He's one of the lines. He's like it jiggles like a real woman's bottom, and he's just like smacking it. What? Chelsea
Do you have
knows exactly
affiliate
what I'm
links in
talking
the description?
Chelsea says it's a gross video. Is it funny though?
Chelsea's
Yeah, she
seen
says
it.
it's funny. It is gross, but it's funny.
Of course.
Yeah. Alan, I feel like Alan has a good answer to what he would do if he had to make his channel sexual.
Alan's been thinking about this for a while.
Wait, do I?
Yeah.
There's like a couple of things that come to mind. Wait, really? Oh, wait, sorry. I was thinking about other stuff. No, yeah, Nutbusters. Dude, that's my dream. That's my big brain. Like, if I ever became like a Ben Krasnow level of like
Not caring.
Exactly, of just like only doing the thing that I'm passionate about, it would be Nutbusters. It would be like the
X-rated
Mythbusters,
Mythbusters.
but for sex myths. And I would want to have
No.
Riley Reid
Don't
as a
limit
co-host.
yourself. It's just X-rated Mythbusters, where you can do
Just
basically
okay.
anything
Okay.
that is, as long as it's not illegal.
What, like
Dude,
where you
there's-
dig up like a Reddit story or something and try to...
Well, okay,
Yeah.
no.
It
There's
could
so many
happen.
things. So the pilot episode is testing post-nut clarity, right? You get a bunch of people. You make sure that they don't nut for like a week. You have them do an IQ test. Then you have them nut in a closet or something, and then you have them do another IQ
Why
test
even
and
give 'em a
see if they get
closet?
smarter. Yeah, just right there.
Do it during the
front of-
IQ test and see...
Do you?
So it goes up question by question if their scores improve.
Is it just like
on
a
YouTube,
sheet
the
of
minute
like
by second retention rate.
like as a multiplication table where they just have to do a bunch of multiplication problems like you did in school back in the day, or is it actually? An
And they
IQ
just
test?
get better and better. I would do actual IQ tests, like whatever they do for Mensa or whatever. I would want
Right.
that. And I mean, it's like literally like, you know, is squirt just pee, right?
Right.
There's an experiment to do
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
or like
Welcome
rebuilding.
to the Safety Third podcast.
Yeah, or like testing.
You're just shooting
like,
in.
have you ever heard of like Cleopatra's vibrator?
No.
Like apparently
No.
Cleopatra had like a primitive, the first vibrator. It was like
A diesel
hollow
engine?
clay, a hollow
They
clay
just- there's a
dildo
steam
filled with
one.
bees.
No,
Filled
I was
with
gonna guess
bees.
that. Holy crap, that's ingenious.
So like apparently the vibe, but that's just it's
Wait, what was it?
It was a
apocryphal.
hollow-
It's
it was a
it's
bunch
a
of
hollow-
bees trapped in a thing.
cylinder.
You'd have to
Yeah,
make sure
no.
your bees have been
Bees
used up
trapped in
before
a
you open up and
clay
put new ones
cylinder.
in.
How do
and
they
so
make the bees
would
angry?
Buzz. I think you just shake it. Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
it's
But the thing is, it's apocryphal. There's no proof one way or the other that she ever actually did that. So it's like, all right, Riley Reid, let's build it. Let's see if it does anything.
already
Come
cast-
on.
He's already
Get some
done.
bees. You're way too... You're so keen.
I think it's a
It's
brilliant
my dream.
idea.
It's my dream. It's just I would have to do it when my career was already done. Like I was already decided. Like, all right, you know what? I've had my fun. I'm gonna walk away from this, but I'm gonna end it on a high note. Just spend all of my money casting Riley Reid in this.
Dude, I
Caesar just
bet
goes,
you.
No.
There is someone who would pay money to produce this, just as like a
Pornhub.
publicity
Yeah.
stunt. I feel like it's the
Pornhub.
kind of
you
thing.
could do this without your name even attached
Yeah,
to it. 'cause
you've
I
seen-
think, I think you could do this.
Pornhub has done
The-
a bunch of memes.
The
of,
thing
like,
is,
they've done all sorts of
They've sponsored
insane.
stuff.
I
Yeah,
have a
think- I was thinking
manager
Pornhub
who
would definitely
handles
find
like
that.
TV stuff for me, and like there is still some TV stuff I want to do. And I brought this idea up to her once. I was like, "Hey, how bad would it be, like casting wise, if I ever did this?"
You never.
And after I described it to her, she said, "Do not ever do that."
You'll never work in this town again.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it was like, "You will be uncastable. You will not be
No,
able to
you know
work
who
on
said
any
that?
show
Boomer.
after
Boom.
That's Boomer.
Television
Whoever
True.
said that, because
dead.
that is a door opener for you.
that." Sticky,
I
warm
feel
doors.
like advertising is really hard though for companies like porno. What do you do? Take a Super Bowl ad out, and so I feel like they do a lot of publicity stunts.
Yeah. Feel like
I-
energy
but I
drinks
mean,
then.
Yeah,
but like even for like, remember OnlyFans almost stopped doing like naked people stuff,
Yeah,
right?
'cause
Because
it
they were
caused
having
problems.
trouble with like, yeah, with like the credit cards.
What if
or the credit
what
card
if you could do
companies.
it behind the scenes, where you were sort of like you were doing it, but you weren't like the actual buster?
I
Puppet master.
I would want to be the host. I couldn't do it behind the scenes.
It's like
I would have to
Steven
be the
Spielberg
face
is like,
of it.
I'm gonna be E.T. and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
Yeah, I mean, like, why? I don't know. I wouldn't want to just produce it from behind this. I would want to be in front. I would want to do it.
I want to be the guy that's shaking the bee container.
Yeah, I want to make the bees angry, and then hand it to Riley Reid and ask her to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
I could almost see YouTube
0 out of
even
10, the
doing
bees
this.
got out.
There's like some sort of sex
bees
positivity
escaped.
thing.
YouTube originals. Call Alan. You
Yeah.
have his
Serious.
email.
Hell yeah.
Welcome. On this episode of Nutbusters, Alan Pan does the unthinkable.
And then it's just bees. It's cut exactly like a TV episode. That's my dream. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever get to
On this
do it.
episode, the boys.
The boy.
Oh, the boys, the
Comes
shitty boys. That's the other dream, is to do the Shitty Boys TV show.
It's like regular Mythbusters. They ran out of myths. You're gonna run out of like sex myths, so you just start doing other weird stuff.
Start making them up.
well, that's like the trying to make the like an idealized penis. I can't say that. I'm gonna stop right there.
What are they gonna do?
The idea that like
I saw a video on
like
YouTube
that-
somewhere that was like a PhD or like some sort of research on like penis shapes.
yeah, it's like kind of this idea that like there might be like in computation there's an idea of like a local maximum and a global maximum, and you can, when you're optimizing for things, get trapped in a local maximum because you wouldn't ever have incentive to sort of like de-optimize until you found a better place. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, in the course of human evolution with these sort of selective pressures, did we
guess-
miss a global maximum of penis design? Is there a penis out there that is way better at doing penis things than our current penises? And so it would
I guess
be,
that's a
an
question
episode
for
about
you.
finding that. Yeah.
Like, we could print them. Find out.
Exactly.
Do you have flesh color flexible filament?
It's one of the worst colors to use, but yeah, I do have flesh color.
I love he looks down at his list of things to print for the day. And he's like,
There was an art exhibition where someone got like insect like genitalia and they supersized them and printed them.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was horrifying. It was
That's
like a freak
great
show.
though. Dude, that's amazing.
like medieval
That's
weapons.
really good.
Yeah, some of them literally look like clubs from like alien spaceships.
Dude, that's Nutbusters material for sure.
That's
That's
it.
so good.
It's like if we get insect penises and scale them up,
And then you take
Dot,
a
dot,
whale
dot.
penis
The most
and you scale
deadly.
it down.
scale it down.
So what would it look like if a whale could have sex with a beetle?
On this episode of How Did This Show Get Funding? Sponsored by PBS. I think that means we should stop.
Yeah, so anyways, this has been Maker's Muse.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. I've got so many new ideas for videos.
Do you regret joining us?
No. It's good to
You know, I
cut
was listening
loose.
to NPR today, and they were going over their list of their favorite podcasts for the year.
Were we not
And I'm
on
like,
it?
you know what? Maybe ours is going to be on this list. And I don't know, guys.
Not anymore. Not after today.
It's like someone's Steam library. Like they download all the episodes, but they're afraid to watch. They never get around to watching it. They like the idea of our podcast, but they just can't bring themselves to play it.
They get like 10 minutes in, they just walk away from the computer. I need some fresh air.
Well, if you want to see Lola Bunny's 3D printed butt,
Her big dumpy.
Her big dumpy.
Glorious big dumpy. Lola Dumpy.
who sponsored this video? Who's the sponsor of this podcast? We would like to
Get
thank.
some sponsors.
Pretty sure it's Space Jam 2.
We'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, the estate of Jeffrey Epstein. And the message they want to share with you today is Epstein did nothing wrong.
Epstein did not kill himself.
Oh dear. It's a nail in the coffin. Just a nail in the coffin.
Dude, the whole video is
That was a good sponsor.
That's what we get.
That was probably the best sponsor we've had so far.
I wasn't sure if you actually did have a sponsor or not.
Nobody.
No, it's actually more of an anti-sponsor
sponsor this?
segment.
I don't know. People should pay to not be mentioned at all.
Sometimes
during this.
God
Yeah, they
sponsors
should.
the
Yeah, it's like an
podcast.
anti-review. You should pay us money not to mention you.
This video was sponsored by Creality. Their thermal
Definitely
runaway.
did not pay.
Their printer said don't work when they show up. It works great now that I fixed it.
Yeah, that's the moral. Reality works great when you fix it. I like my Ender 3 now.
That I fixed it.
Yeah.
Thanks to all the work that other people did.
Yeah, legit. Thanks, community.
This video was sponsored by the community that's too poor to buy a better printer and stubborn enough to fix the one they bought from Creality.
No, it's
Amen.
It's sponsored by the community that spends $200 on a printer, then $500 on upgrading it.
Don't forget to check out the Patreon for Safety Third. The bonus episodes won't come out for like 2 weeks because I think we're like 2 podcasts ahead, but the Discord server is live and we're going to start recording. I mean, we record every single week, so we'll start recording the bonus episodes next week, which means we're going to have questions for you guys pretty soon. So come out, hang out, shout out,